Hello everyone, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. I got the Swan mold out, so I just got this one if you saw the unboxing the other day. This is a Temu mold, and I'll try to find it on Amazon. I know a lot of you don't shop on Temu, but this is a Swan. It's huge. I just filled it with water. It's 12 ounces, so this is a big, massive jar mold. And I went back and forth on what to fill it with, and I really want to see this thing filled with multiple different things, not just necessarily resin, but maybe like crushed shells, or I don't know. There's so many things because it's so large that you could fit in here. Today we're going to use the Into Resin multicolor Aurora powder number 1. I just opened this. I haven't used this one yet, and I used Aurora powder in the little sleeping dogs and cats the other day, and it came out really pretty because it just kind of sits in the resin and it doesn't all sink or float. It's just like there. And this has a lot of design on it when we unmold it, so I'm thinking maybe doing something with the design after the fact. I mean, this thing I think would look pretty just in clear, but you know I can't just do clear. Someday I'll try to just do clear. Let's mix up. I'm going to use my epoxy resin by Let's Resin because I've poured things this deep with that one and it doesn't flash cure on me. Hopefully today's not that day. So I think it was 12 ounces. Maybe a tiny bit less, but I'm pretty sure it was 12. We'll let you know. I'm going to mix up 12. If we have extra, we do, but I don't think we will. "12 ounces is mixed. I'm going to just pour a little bit in this cup to mix I always forget to do this, and I don't want to forget to do this. If you're mixing mica powder in, you should do it in something very small and then mix it into something larger so you don't have the unmixed mica powder. I don't know how much to do. That's the problem. There's not a whole lot in these little jars. You get several jars, but I'm doing 12 ounces, so I need a lot of powder to get the look that I'm going for, so I'm using most of this little jar. I can't remember how many come in the set, but there's a lot in the set, and I still have all of them except probably this one. I might use all of it, but we'll see what it looks like mixed in, and then I'm going to split it into 2 cups to run it through the vacuum chamber just so it doesn't bubble over on me. Look at that. That is so pretty. I mean, if that was it, of course it's going to be diluted a lot in the 12 ounces, but too bad it doesn't look like that in the final piece. That is so pretty. All right, let's now mix it into here. And then we will mix it. If I have to pour the rest in, then I'll pour the rest in of the powder. Try to get it all out of this little cup. Okay, now let me grab my larger stir stick. Oh, that is so gorgeous. It looks like Aurora Borealis. It looks like the Northern Lights. Not that I've ever seen them in person, but I can imagine that that's what it would look like. Someday, I do want to go see that in person. This one has a pink and greenish hue to it. Maybe other colors, but right now I'm seeing pinkish and greens. That looks good. Just remember, if you're using mixers of any kind, hand mixers, hands-free mixers, scrape your sides and bottoms if you're not mixing it by hand. I think that's enough. I don't want to use the entire bottle if I don't need to. We're just going to give it a hue. And we'll do half of this cup and half of this cup, and we will get these bubbles out. let's talk about the vacuum chamber for a minute. A lot of you got it for Christmas. A lot of you have questions or don't know what to expect when you're using it because you're brand new to it. And I always put 5 minutes on my screen because that's what I'm running it at. Some people are saying they're running it for 5 minutes, but they still have bubbles in their resin. There's a lot of factors. First of all, there are always bubbles on my resin when I shut my machine off. There's always going to be surface bubbles. You're never going to get them all out because you have additives in there. You have different forms of cups that you're putting in there. You have glitter in there. Sometimes you have glue in there. There are always bubbles on the top of my cups when I shut my machine off. When you release the pressure slowly, all those bubbles go away and you end up with this. There's nothing left. If there's still a couple little surface bubbles, I see a piece of powder there, then you can spray them with alcohol to pop the final ones, or you can put a long neck lighter in there. Just don't melt cups like this with lighters or torches or whatever. It also depends on what kind of resin you're using. I only use Let's Resin brand, every single one minus tabletop epoxy. I do not use my vacuum chamber for tabletop epoxy. It doesn't work, and there's too many bubbles, and you cannot use a mixer with tabletop epoxy. You have to hand mix it. So if you think you're gonna spin up some tabletop and throw it in the vacuum chamber, it isn't gonna work. You're gonna throw that batch in the garbage. So that's the only resin that I do not put in this vacuum chamber. And it's not just Let's Resin brand tabletop epoxy. It's all brands of tabletop epoxy. But if you see after 5 minutes, you can run it longer. This resin, this epoxy resin, has 40-minute work time. Just because if you think it's not done, leave it in there. You can leave it in there for 10 minutes if you wanted to. As long as you know your work time with your resin, then just leave it in there accordingly. If you only have 10 minutes of work time with whatever resin you're using, I don't even know that I would use a vacuum chamber. But like for the 4-hour fast cure, you have, I think, 20 minutes to use it. That's why I'll do 5 minutes, because you got 5 minutes of stirring, 5 minutes of that. If you think you can pour in 10 minutes, which is usually no problem, then leave it in for a few minutes extra. But like I said, depending on multiple things, you're going to have surface bubbles. When you shut the thing off, when you release the pressure, they should go away. Yes, I do have a little bit of smoke coming out of the oil reservoir. Not very often, but it does happen. That's normal. A lot of people are nervous about the smoke, but that is normal if you're using the brand that I have. So other brands I don't know about. I don't use other brands. This is the one that I'm talking about. So I know a lot of you got the one that I have. So that's what wanted to take a few minutes. And on my Facebook group, Kimberly has a great post about the one that I have as well. She uses the same one that I do. So look for that post in our Facebook group or tag Kimberly in there so maybe she can get it to you. Okay, now I'm going to spray this with alcohol. Get it down in the head. This doesn't look like too big of an issue one with any bubbles forming anywhere. I'm just going to pour it slowly, and we're going to squish the head a little bit because I don't want to create the bubbles that I just got rid of. And I don't think, hopefully not, that will happen. This doesn't have a lot of nooks and crannies to hide in, or little spots for the resin to make bubbles. No 90-degree angles anywhere. That one is empty. Let me just scrape. When you scrape your cup, you're going to create some bubbles, so be careful. See, there's some that just went in there. So to use the heat mat underneath that I'm always using, I do let them sit for a little while before I turn the heat mat on. So if there are any bubbles that got in there, they're going to hopefully rise and pop. So when it gets really gluey and tacky, that's when I turn my heat mat on. Now hopefully, see, I always get nervous when I pour these things because I did measure it and I did dome it with the water. Let me grab a long neck lighter. Oh, I just over poured this too much. Let me get some out. I like to dome especially jars because you have that lip that you need on the jar lid. So make sure you you fill it all the way. And I'm just gonna pop the bubbles I created that just pulled up. All right, same thing in this one. I'm just going to, I use 99% alcohol. I don't use anything less than that. It's a little more expensive. I buy it in bulk on Amazon. It's usually always linked, but it's well worth it. It's not gonna leave streaks or mess up your resin in any way. It never has for me, and I use it every day, all day, on everything that I make. And I don't have enough. Oh my gosh, tell me I have enough. Oh, it's coming up. Like I said, this is gonna have to be scraped. Let me scrape this one out, and we are gonna have just enough. A little bit more. So if you get this mold, 12 ounces exact. Actually, I'm wrong. I need a little more. I'm gonna mix up another ounce or two. So mix yourself up 14. You're probably gonna need 13. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up 2 ounces. I may have some extras, but 12 did not fill it nearly high enough. I'm just under this lip here. So I do want to make sure I get enough in there. Everything's cured. I got the extras done, well, for the most part done. So this is a pendant I'm loving making. I just got the mold, if you didn't see yesterday. So this, what I did was I mixed up 2 more ounces, and I used about more than an ounce to fill up the rest of the mold. So this was the rest of the Aurora powder. And this one I just top coated and put a little bail on. Oops, this side is top coated. I didn't top coat the back side. And then I made a little shaker keychain. I'm having so much fun with these little molds. These are so cute. So I put a little balloon dog and a butterfly and a little charm and a tassel. And I put a whole bunch of little candy pieces inside the candy piece and top coated it. There's a little bit of glitter in there, but not enough. I should have put more, but it's too late now. Here's the back. You can even see them through the back. So this is super cute. Then I did make a Tree of Life pendant. I filled it with gold acrylic paint. I did wipe it off the top, which I don't normally do till tomorrow, but I cannot top coat this until tomorrow because I need all that completely dry before I put UV resin on there. So I will make a keychain out of that tomorrow. I have a bonus unmolding. If you would like to join me for it, stick around, or you'll have to fast forward to the main event. This was Barbara's last order for the time, but I've done this mold with you a couple of times, so I didn't want to do an entire video on it. So I did pour it in the background today. And it takes a while because you have so much cleaning to do on the top of this. Is the rose jar from Into Resin. And she wanted it done in white and specific colors. I have not finished this one off yet, so I still have to do that. And I will do that here in a minute. But she thought that the pearly white would look good because this is a matte mold. And it does look good. I agree, but it's going to look better when I'm completely finished. I'm just looking for some bubbles. I have a little bit of trimming, but I really don't see any bubbles. I ran everything through the vacuum chamber. So that is the bottom of the jar. She wanted champagne chameleon powders painted into the roses. So that's what I did. And I cleaned up the edge the best that I could. It was this mold here. And there they are. I did not do the green on the stems. I'm going to do that next. I painted that silver, which that came out good. So I'm going to completely finish this one. I don't see bubbles on this either. Let's see how it looks as a jar. It's really, really cute. And does the lid fit is the question. Oh, I have a little trimming to do. Otherwise, yes, it will fit. So I do need to fix this all up and get that beautiful for her. And this one I am not going to be done with either, so I will have to do another time lapse. So like I said, I filled this up with a little bit more than one more ounce that I mixed up off camera. So I really did want it completely full. There it is. Oh, I see a couple bubbles anyways. As hard as I work to get them out, there's some on the sides. I must have poured it too quickly. They're very hard to see, but I can see them. But look at the color. It is beautiful. Mostly pinkish. There's some green in there, a little bit of gold. Let's hope this top piece doesn't have any bubbles. Oh, I already see some on the bottom here, but that's an easy fix with UV resin. And I'm not sure if I went under that edge or not. I may not have. Let's see what this one looks like. I would say make sure this is completely cured and cooled down before you unmold, because the neck would probably snap off. Oh, that is so pretty. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I got a couple things on there. Let's see. And does it fit? That is the question. I must need trimming because it doesn't fit yet, but it will when I'm done. I must need trimming somewhere. I'm not sure where. Otherwise, this mold doesn't fit together good. But I will make sure it fits when I'm completely finished. But what do you think? I think the top is prettier than the bottom because the bottom is so much thinner. You're not seeing as much of the Aurora powders, but they are beautiful together. So give me a couple of minutes. Let me figure out what I can do to this swan. And it looks like resin did get poured. Oh, yeah, it is going to be poured in the neck. There's that slit right there. So unless you strap that together, which I did not realize I should have done somehow, there is a thin piece of resin right there in the neck. I'm sure I could drill it out, but do I want to take that chance? Because it really doesn't look horrible. I think if it was a color that was stood out more, I probably would drill that out. But I think on this one, I'm going to leave it. So let me get to trimming and make sure everything fits and embellished, and we'll come back for the final reveal. done. That took quite a while because I put silver on all of these marks and the beak, but I didn't like the silver, so I washed them all off with alcohol. I do have to trim. In fact, I'm going to have Don trim. It doesn't fit right out of the mold, so I don't know if it cured wrong or what. I did heat this up. I got it to fit, but I don't have like rubber bands to hold it together while it cools back down, so I'm just going to have him trim and Dremel this all out for me tomorrow. But other than that, it's really, really pretty. I love the colors in the Swan, and the beak I think was all it really needed, if anything. It doesn't even really need anything. And then for Barbara's, this took a little bit longer, but it was well worth it. Here is the finished product. So I took silver chrome marker. I went around the roping on the top and the bottom. I did the silver on all these little flowers, and then I put a rhinestone in the center of each flower on the top and on the sides. Then I took a mixture of acrylic paint and an acrylic pen. It's not sitting here. Oh, here it is. So a mixture of these two colors, and I just did all the leaves after the fact and did a little bit of silver on the tips of the rose petals, and then I put a few rhinestones in the center of that. So this one fits fine, no problem. And here's the bottom, trimmed, ready to go. So that was for her, along with the other things she had ordered that we did over the past week. So that's it, you guys. I could still get you some pictures, even though this needs to be fixed tomorrow. So if you get this mold, be careful with the lid. Kind of hold it back together while it's curing. I'm not sure. We'll have to try another one and see if that's the issue. All right, well, that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. I hope you all have a blessed day. Bye, everyone.